Theta the spur controls everything. The conversation is dominated by the spurg. Over the next 2 hours or however long they stay sober, you will lose intelligence. Enjoy Theta Thursday. Your hosts, Dawn and Rhea, Mifune, and some shitty guests.
It's one of my favorites.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week on Theta Thursday. A very, very special episode. This is the first episode this CSM campaigning period where we're going to start talking about some CSM stuff. Let's go.
Do we have to? Do we have to?
Not really.
Brisk
We
is,
could just sit here
to,
and
right?
talk about RimWorld or something.
No,
Come on, Brisk. It's my
is so
first
tired.
time. Let me have this.
Will you
Brisk
get on a
is-
fucking camera, Redline? You have a camera, you punk ass.
Brisk,
Come
I
on.
bet you're
Oh,
so
wait a second.
tired
We
of
have
the
to set
interviews.
we have to set some ground rules here.
Oh no.
Now, Mifune, since you are also running for CSM, sir, you're not allowed to ask any questions that are of detriment to the other CSM candidates. There'll be no slagging of CSM candidates. You can't say, "Yeah, red line."
Damn, I can't say Brisk is a
Brisk.
corrupt politician. Damn.
God knows that's true. Right?
No,
Everybody
that's
says
just
it.
the truth.
Anyways, how's everybody doing this week? We should maybe do some introductions, right? We know who Brisk Rubal is. He's you're going on your third term this time, Brisk.
This will be my fourth term if I win.
Fourth term. So you're
Fourth
a three-term CSM.
member.
And this will be your final hurrah. Your what do they call it? Swan song.
Only then he goes on a cooldown period, so it's not.
Yeah, but I'm not going to
forever.
run again after that. I mean, unless something is completely fucked up and I desperately feel like I'm the only one that can fix it, and my ego is not that big, despite claims to the contrary, I think I'm kind of done. So,
Redline,
give
you
it time.
have you run before? Redline, have you been on the CSM before?
No, I haven't. I haven't even run before.
This is his first time.
This is my first time. Also, Brisk, I'm eating food right now. Like, give me
All right,
some
Well,
time.
then,
I can
leave your
hop on
camera off, punk.
What do you eat?
Please.
I'm going.
No, you gotta be
Hot
like
dogs, chili dogs, even.
you gotta be like that one boat
Sucking on chili dogs outside
Behind the
of
Tasty Freeze?
Yep.
No, he's got to be like that one boat show episode where Boat's eating. His wife brings him steak, and
Oh my
she's
God,
like,
that was so
"You
funny.
want a knife?" And he goes, "No, I'm good." Like he dies 5 minutes later, and he goes, "All right, I'll be right back. I need to get a knife for my steak." It was such a boat
Classic
moment.
boat.
Mifune,
Yep.
you are also a CSM candidate this time around.
Yes,
Have you run before?
I have not.
So this is your first time.
Yes, I've wanted to run for a while now, and
He
when I
wasn't old enough, right?
Well, no, you had to be 18. I could have ran in 2018 or 2019, but I chose.
Are you sure
not
about
to.
that?
Yes.
I thought you had to be the
Are you
age of
lying about your
majority
age?
in your.
I'm just saying.
No, you had to be 18. It literally says in the requirements 18 years of age. But I was still in high school at the time. I was kind of getting my life together. Couldn't really dedicate something as big as the CSM on my plate with colleges and stuff on the horizon. So
That's actually a good question. How do they vet CSM candidates? Like, what are the basic things that you need to push the button and apply to be a CSM, to apply to run to be CSM? And I do also understand that they're doing something a little different this year.
yeah, so you need to be at least 18. You need to basically provide to CCP and provide at least I believe it's your first name to the EVE community, and kind of reveal your identity behind the screen, which is a big thing for them because that's you're personally talking to CCP and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Essentially,
you're a bit
you
wrong
need to be
here.
able to be entering into a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just
you
have
need
to
to be
prove
able to-
that you're capable of doing that.
Now, do you
Yeah,
have
so-
to be
You're
of the
100%.
age of majority in your own country or in Iceland? And I don't know what the age of majority is.
You have to be
so
18.
It's 18.
I'm gonna drop the link for the announcement in Twitch chat but
Why do we
there
need
are a
real
couple of bits.
information? I like making shit up.
Because there's a lot of things that are being said there that is not quite accurate. First up, you have to be of the age in which you can enter into a contract. If that's older than 18 in your country, you have to be of that age, not 18. But in most countries in the Western world, it's 18, so, like, okay, great. You do have to be at minimum 18 for CCP to take you on, even if the age of majority is lower in your country. So, there we go. Just in terms of that fact. Secondly, Mifune there tried to say that you had to, reveal your identity to the EVE community. You don't. You can continue to be just your player name to the EVE community.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. You do have to be willing to provide your real life details to CCP for, again, those kind of contractual purposes.
I think the last thing anybody should be doing is doing what Villy does, just saying.
Yeah.
What, rotting alliances from the inside out? Oh, did I say
No,
that?
just listen. I mean, you can say what you want
so
about a lot of different people, but the whole idea is if you're going to run for CSM and be a public figure, you can't hide and not do shows and not talk to people and not go on camera, not let them see your face and not let them know who you are. That just drives me crazy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you take a look at a nominate, for example, he doesn't go bandying about his real life name or anything. He just is a presence as a nominate, and that's fine.
Yeah, but you see his face every day. We see his face every day.
He's probably not the best.
I don't know. I have a problem with the idea of running for office and being a public figure and not like letting people see what you look like. I just don't get that. This isn't kind of fashion contest. Nobody cares what you look like. I mean, maybe they'll make fun of you if you look like me, but still,
Listen, those
who
curtains?
cares?
Wait, it's not a fashion contest?
No, it's a popularity contest. You don't have to be attractive to be
It's-
popular.
It's a high school
Look at me.
class president competition.
Gazing into your beautiful blue eyes, Brisk, how can anyone not?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in Twitch chat, Adrian Winters makes a very, very good point as well. If you are running and you already have a reputation with an EVE character and you try to run on an alt to try and be a bit incognito, CCP may ask you to run under your more well-known alt name. And are there any other little bits that might actually be... Yes, so your account has to be older than 60 days at the time the applications close as well. You can't be like a week into EVE running for the CSM. You've got to have put a little bit of time into like taking a look and seeing what EVE's all about.
That's interesting. Now, on the other side of that, what is in it for you guys? Why run for CSM? Is there like a compensation of any type?
So we get,
but I think, yeah, Bruce,
I mean,
sorry.
you'll get 5 accounts paid for, which is the same that CCP employees do. And then if we do have summits, you get to go to the summit and they'll pay your room and board and the flight and you'll get a food stipend. And then in the event that there's like EVE meets or things like that, you'll get free tickets to those because they'll expect you to, they want you to be there. But that's it. I mean, and it's not, in the overall scheme of things, even with the price increases, it's not a ton of money. Not for the amount of time that you're going to spend on it and not for the amount of things you're going to end up spending money on anyway. All of my free trips to Iceland have all cost me thousands of dollars. So, yeah.
So what are your duties when you get I said duties. What are your duties when you're on CSM? Like are you like truly a representative between the players and CCP? So somebody that calls you or texts you or sends you a fucking Discord message at 3 a.m. and they're like, "Oh, I got it, my shit's all fucked up. CCP's been like pissing on me." What do?
I mean, here's the thing. It depends on how you want to view the role. And I don't know how Mifune and Redline are going to want to view their role. But for me, I put in a lot of time in. So you have to attend the weekly meeting that they expect that's like a minimum. Just be there, be available for the meeting. You don't have to hit them all. There are going to be times when people have work or they have real life or they have vacations and stuff and they can't do it. But they're going to expect you to be there for at least a good portion of the meetings. They're going to want you to participate in Slack, which is the internal communications that the whole company uses. They're going to want you to look at stuff that they put up on Confluence and give feedback. And then the rest, literally everything else other than that, is what you decide as your role and how you want to play it. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to talk to any players if you don't want to. You don't have to go on the forums. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to talk to literally anyone. You can just talk to CCP if you want. I think that's horrible. I think that's like the absolute bare minimum that people can do on the CSM. But here's the thing, like the role is defined by each of us. We decide how we want to do it. I take my role and the things that I do when I'm on the CSM completely differently from other people. Like I'm everywhere. I try to be everywhere. I try to do every show. I'm on Reddit. I'm on the forums. I answer every single email that comes to me. I'm on 70 plus Discords. Everybody wants to reach out at any time of day they can, and I will respond to everything. You know, that's just how I am. That's how I've taken to view the role. You don't have to do that. A lot of folks don't do that. That's just how I view it. I don't know how do you guys plan on doing it if you want, if you win, Mifune, Redline?
I mean, I so for me, I want to be there for the players. I want to, you know, I always do. Like today, for example, I was out with the girl I've been seeing for a couple of weeks, and somebody emailed me being like, hey, we want to do an interview, and I have the Eve Portal app, so I get those notifications, and within 5 minutes I was texting back like, give me a date and time, I'll be there, shove it on my calendar, right? Like I want to be there for people. I have Discord on my phone, I have Slack on my phone for work, I have the Eve Portal app. People know that if they want to talk to me, they can reach me, and I always respond within minutes, because one of my pet peeves is the red fucking dot on my goddamn iPhone. I cannot stand having notifications on my iPhone, and so I make it a point to respond to every fucking thing that comes through my phone.
Just get an Android. They're better phones.
It's true, they are. If elected to the CSM, I will make Mifune get an Android.
Wow, you're the only CSM candidate Redline that we have that
I'll tell you what,
runs on an Android?
the reason I will not,
solid promise.
The reason I will not get an Android, I am with my work, I am in a group chat with just the bartenders. And the thing is, since the brewery I work for just opened up, we have a lot of people coming in. We've got a lot of people going out. You know, turnover rate is kind of high within the first couple weeks of a business being open. And with if every user in your texting group chat has an iPhone, it'll be an iMessage group, and you can remove and add people at will. But if one fucking person has an Android phone, then you gotta create a whole nother ass group chat. It's awful. It's painful. It's annoying, right?
Now I do want
That sounds hilarious.
I do want to answer the question that was posed.
Yeah.
How I view the role. I just wanted to segue a little bit. Thought it was interesting, but I don't know. I think I'll do the same thing I do now, and just be available in Discord as I am, and have people come on to the shows and talk. That seems fun. It was fun when Billy was on Trash Talk Tuesday. That's what we did. We talked to the CSM guy. And see, it was very funny. Very fun.
Okay, so let's go through the room again, and we'll start with Mifune on this. This is going to be a blanket question for all three of the candidates, and it's one of those general questions. What qualities set you apart? What personal qualities set you apart from other candidates and will make you a good Council of Stellar Management, or whatever the fuck it's called, representative? We'll start with Mifune.
So for me, it's my passion for Eve. And I'll say it right here, right now. Everybody already knows it, but no one will say it. I'm a fucking idiot. I've always been a fucking
Selling
idiot.
yourself well already.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I've always been a fucking idiot, but if there's one thing that I know about myself is that my love for a game like Eve is incredible. My love for the community is great. I can definitively say I grew up on Eve, right? I got in when I was 15 years old. I got in because of my father. It's the one activity that we bonded together with. because I could never play sports with my father because he had medical complications. And so we bonded over video games, and it started with Star Wars Galaxies, and then Star Wars Galaxies closed down, and he started playing Eve. And when I got older and like able to understand the basics of money and economics, and I started playing Eve, and I grew up with Eve, right? Like, there are people I know in this game that influenced my decisions on life. There were people who pushed me to go to college. There were people that pushed me to go into the military when I wanted to. There is numerous conversations I've had with Eve people that have influenced my life. And that's why I love Eve. Like, I don't care what game we're playing. We could be playing Eve, we could be playing fucking Fortnite. I wouldn't care. As long as it's with the same friends that I've had for years, it doesn't matter. And I love the community, right? And that's kind of what I think sets me apart, is just I spend 7 days a week playing Eve. I don't go a single day without logging in for at least a couple hours. All
right, Brisk, what about you?
I mean, look, here's the thing, other than Steve Rnukin, of all the other and since you asked what sets me apart from the other candidates, experience. Steve Rnukin's the only other candidate running this time that has half as much experience as I do. He has twice as much. This will be his 7th term. This will be my 4th. I'm kind of running to be the old man on the CSM. Here's the deal: we have 7 slots that are potentially that are open this season because of the way that things are shaking out. We're going to have almost an entirely new CSM. Assuming that Arcia, Ken, and myself can get reelected, there'll be 7 brand new people on the CSM. Okay? You don't learn how to do this job in a day. And I tell you, when I look back, when I started out as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, shaven face, actually had brown hair kid on CSM 13, it was a culture shock to me. And if I hadn't had somebody like Aerith or Sort Dragon to grab me and be like, here's how things actually work as opposed to what you think. And I know you think you're a smart guy and you've done all this political stuff and you're going to come in here and do everything right your way. We ought to joke on the CSM, and it hits everybody. It's that train may not always be on time, but it's never, you are always going to get on it. And that's the thing. Like, at some point you realize a lot of the stuff that you thought about when you started running, and all the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and the happiness and the, oh, this is so cool, goes away. And then you're left with, all right, now what do I do? And I want to be there to try to make sure that we can ease the folks that are new into that role, because it is a tough job. It's a job that requires relationships. It's a job that requires patience. It's a job that requires understanding. And more than anything, it's a job that requires erasing and forgetting all of your preconceived notions about how the company and the game operates, because when you get behind the scenes and you get to see how the sausage is made, it's not at all like what people think. I tell everybody, and Merc and Nam and I say,
or
huh?
Is there like cat meat in there, or like what's
no? It's like you think this like, if people think, oh, this is a tech company, it's gonna be run like it. No, this is a lemonade stand that made it big. Like, if you're coming in here expecting these guys to be super crazy business geniuses, no. Every day goes by when I look at this company, and how the fuck are you still in business? And once you get over that and you realize, you have to work with these guys, talk to them like they are players, because they have more in common with players than they do with like business people and things like that. You figure things out, you build the relationships, they get to know you, they get to trust you, they get to know you're not metagaming them, you're telling them good information, you're backing up what you're saying, you show up to meetings, you care as much as they do. You build that trust, you build those relationships, and then you can do your job. But that's not something that happens overnight. So you need to have that bridge. So I kind of feel like losing an Amin at this time, there has to be somebody on there that can be the institutional wisdom. Ken this will be his 3rd time. This will be my 4th. It'll be Arcia's, really her 1st. She's came on for like the last 4 months. So we need to have that bridge. And that's literally the reason I'm running this time, because otherwise I have given as much as I feel like I can. I'm running on fumes at this point, because I try to be patient. I try to do everything I can. I've gotten a lot of stuff done, but it's fun. Even yesterday, I had some random dude like, you didn't fix the red dot. They were going to do that anyway. And I just want to reach through to the screen and strangle him, because if you knew all the meetings that I had and all the work that I did that nobody will ever see because it was all behind the scenes, then people wouldn't say this stuff. So I'm doing it because I feel compelled. I have to. if I want this institution to succeed. And I do, because I've spent enough of my life on it. I would hate for it to just fall by the wayside.
All right, Redline, what
Yeah,
about you? What qualities set you apart, sir?
All the time.
Well, and so before I answer that, I do have a question for you. Have you guys read through like a lot of the threads on there just to like see
Not at all.
what people are
As of last
doing?
night, yeah, I read through a couple.
I thought
So
we
I read
agreed
through every
Steve,
single one.
I thought we
So
agreed that
there's-
Steve wasn't on our list.
So there's a lot of
Trash Talk Tuesday
people.
list.
There's a lot of people that are running for CSM, and they are all available. They're all on Discord. They're just a ping away. Like that's the common denominator between almost everybody. So I don't think that's going to be a thing that separates anybody from anybody else. But what I think does is the fact that, I mean, myself, I'm already making myself available for people to like come and just talk to me and talk to other people, other FCs, people that are actually, you know, in the grind, doing the thing. And I think that's a very good place to have ideas come from. And I hope that if I'm elected, that continues to grow and be a great source of ideas for making everything better. Hopefully.
All right. Let's go back to Brisk.
Well,
Soft skills.
a second.
Go
a
on,
second-
Redline, if you
All
weren't finished.
a second thing. Also, I've already shown that I'm willing to lose out on something super cool to stand up to CCP. So it'd probably be nice to have somebody like that on the CSM.
All right, so we'll
Goonies
go back
point
to.
let me respond to Goonies' point in the chat real quick. So he says, you know, just call their bullshit press. CCP's not willing to help players. Why should you put efforts in cuddling devs for no result? I don't do that. It's not about cuddling. Like, I try to have a respectful relationship with these guys, but I call them on their bullshit all the time. If they are screwing something up, if I think they're doing the wrong thing, if I think they've made a mistake, if I think players are mad and I need to pass on that they're mad, then I do that. Now, there's a right way to do that, and there's a wrong way to do that. Going into a meeting and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you idiots, is not going to get you what you want. But going into a meeting and saying, guys, look, you made a mistake here. People are really upset. Here's what I think you should do to fix it. Or say, did you guys consider this ahead of time? Did you consider that? And then going into, you know, that type of thing. Like today, perfect example. We were talking about FanFest, and I laid out what I thought the issues were. I said, you buried the lead. You probably shouldn't have done the announcement on the price increase until after FanFest. You did it before. The result was this happened and this happened and this happened. I understand why you did it. I know you want to tear the Band-Aid off and things like that. But in the end, with hindsight, I think it would have been better if you did it this way. I do that stuff all the time. But you got to know how to say it. And it has to be coming from somebody that they're okay with, that they understand. Like if you're somebody that constantly, all you do is complain, all you do is tell them how wrong they are all the time. You never give them any credit. They don't feel like you're on their side, or at least that you're willing to cut them any slack. Then they're not going to listen. But coming from somebody like me, it's different. Right, exactly.
Right, so that is a good
segue. They give these guys credit when they deserve it.
That is a good segue into
but
what I
only
was
when
gonna
they deserve
ask.
it. Right, only.
All right, hold on a second.
Regarding,
Weapons grade incompetence. The whole Doctor Who bullshit is absolute evidence that CSM is 100% meaningless. Why? Because they didn't tell us ahead of time that they were doing it? So what? They wanted us to be surprised. They didn't want to leak an announcement. In fact, it wasn't even their fault that they didn't tell us. BBC wouldn't let them tell us. They didn't allow anybody but the folks working on it. Even the people in the company didn't know that was going on. That's not proof that CSM is
Brisk,
useless.
There's another point in the chat though that I would really love to hear you address. Goonie says after years of being kind, friendly, etc., the good way has clearly failed. So I
don't agree with that at all.
I mean, it kind of has, because we still have all of the things that we hated in the last 2 years. A lot of those things passed in front of the CSM. And I'm sure a lot of you guys had a lot of things to say.
We did.
But if CCP didn't listen to you, then that's the first step to fixing the issue, is making them listen.
How do you do that, Redline?
Yeah, explain to me how those soft skills in your life transfer over. So your public relations skills, and this will go with each candidate to make CCP listen. what experience do you have in dealing with people that would help you make CCP listen? Remember those words: make CCP listen.
I'm all ears.
Any-
Listen, if you
anybody
guys know
could-
how to do that, please tell me. I'd be happy to put it into practice. But I have tried. I've tried being
Let me tell
nice.
you,
I-
let me tell you how to do
bribing
that,
them.
right?
I've tried doing the one-on-one
Bribing?
conversations.
Some
I always
drama?
every time I go to a summit, I bring a bottle of scotch and a bunch of candy, and I make sure that it's there for
Now-
the guys so that they're like, "Hey, Briss brings presents." Of course, I do all the little soft stuff. I take people out to lunch. We buy beers. We sit around and we talk. And then in the meetings, if I have to be hard on them, I'm hard on them. And I tell them stuff behind the scenes. I'm like, you guys made a mistake. You need to fix this. I've done everything I can, but there are times when they firmly believe that they're doing the right thing, and no amount of us telling them is going to work. They're just not going to listen because they're the ones who have to make the decision. They're the ones who are getting paid to do this work. And if they think, like the economy stuff is a perfect example. We talked with them till we were blue in the face about all of this stuff. We blunted some of it. But in the end, this was the stuff that they chose to do. And no matter how much we talked about it, they didn't want to do it. So at some point, CSM, we have a phrase for this. We call it letting them touch the stove. You have to let them go out, do what they want, have it blow up in their faces to get them to pull back. That's what's happening now.
It's like real life.
And it's taking time, but
in-
it's happening now.
Yeah, in the way that I've kind of viewed this whole thing with CCP, that there's a lot of people there that seem almost like ideologues, right? They have this thing that they have kind of committed to doing, and they believe that they're doing the right thing by focusing on this thing, and there is literally nothing you could tell them. You could literally take them by the shoulders and shake them about what they're doing, sit them down and put them in front of graph after graph after graph, and they will still believe that they are doing the right thing. And you cannot make somebody like that listen to anything. You just have to let them go out and break their arm, or whatever, wreck the car.
What
or...
do you do?
And the whole stop
what do you
subbing
do
and stop
after they
playing
touch
thing.
the stove? What do they do after? What
happens then? This is a perfect example. Like with the Siege Green stuff. They realize they mess up. We hammer them over and over again. Guys, dread prices are too high. Guys, you can't build capitals. Guys, look at the numbers. Nobody's doing this anymore. You're causing all kinds of problems. People are unsubbing accounts. They're not playing with their alts anymore. We need to fix this. And we start finally getting for them to realizing what's broken, and they start fixing it. Now, the problem is, yes, 100%, they shouldn't have broken it in the first place. I've said it 1,000 times on the Meta Show, and I will say it 10,000 times until I'm blue in the face. I wish we could stop these guys sometimes from doing the stupid shit that they do. We do stop them on a lot of things, but there are times when we can't, and the best we can do at that point is try to dial it back slowly, and that's what we're doing right now. But the whole thing, you don't just unsub and quit playing. Well, I don't want to quit playing. And even then, that's not going to solve the problem, because you know what happens then? Then they spend all their time doing the new player experience so they can bring new people into the game who aren't bitter vets like us, who are going to go and give them money and play because they actually like the game and they're actually having fun with it, while we're sitting here on talk shows circle jerking for the same 100 people every week. It doesn't work. That stuff does not work.
Mifune, I'll pose the question to you. How do you make CCP listen, Mifune? How you as a CSM?
The thing is that over the past
nobody
2 years,
forced you, Gooning, by the way. You chose that. Nobody forced you to stop playing.
Everybody in the past 2 years has had so much anger, so much hate, right? And we all feel it a little bit because we got hurt by CCP, right? And we've heard some of the worst player feedback in the past 2 years. It's been awful. And even now, even during the CSM elections, I am seeing posts on the e-forums. I am seeing things on Reddit. I am seeing things in Discord of people practically boycotting the CCP elections, saying, "Oh, well, the CSM doesn't do anything anyway, so why the fuck should we even vote?" Or, we should all quit and unsub like the Summer of Rage.
As long as it's not Goon saying that, I'm fine with it.
But
okay, Mifune, how do you make them listen?
Hold on. Here's my big thing. You got to remember what the CSM is. It's a focus group. The CSM will suggest things. CCP are the developers. If the developers choose to dig their own grave and they choose to make a decision, that is on them, not the CSM. And trust me, as Brisk has said before, especially over the past 2 years with the industry changes, that they've told them that this is a bad idea. And they didn't listen and went through it with it anyway. Right? Now that may seem at face value like, oh my god, they're not going to listen to the CSM. They do listen to the CSM. They take the CSM shit into account. Trust me, they do.
Like GB's like, there's only one way to make them listen, cut their bottom line. We've gone and they clearly fill into the wallet. And then Goonie's like 100% with GB. Why do you think they raised the price? I mean, they're not going to fix the game because you unsub or stop doing it. They're just going to raise the price on everybody else who's here. You cannot force these guys to do anything that they don't want to do. You have to convince them that it's in the best interest of the game and that it's more fun and it's going to make them more money. If we just blunt force try like, well, we're just going to make them run them out of business until they give us what they want. No, what happens when they get run out of business is the game dies. Okay? And if you don't want the game to survive, then I don't know what the fuck you're here for. What's the point of any of this? Like,
Redline?
How do you make them listen? Working with it. You can't make them listen. What you have to do is go in there, try to show them why what you're saying is accurate, why what you're saying is a good idea. Convince them it's a good idea. Sometimes you'll be successful, sometimes you won't.
Okay,
but at the end of the day, if you're going to throw everything at the feet of the CSM and say it's all the CSM's fault, they didn't stop this, but then at the same time say the CSM is completely powerless and can't do anything, I don't know what to tell you guys. All I can tell you is I have never seen this company change because somebody went in and yelled at them. That just doesn't, they're Icelandic. That's not how it works. That's the instant way to get shut out and to not actually do anything. You can be constructive in your criticism, and I feel like I toe the line pretty carefully with them on that, so that I'm never so far over like GER CCP that they don't want to listen to me, because I try to be fair. But I mean, look, if your only answer to everything is unsub and quit playing, okay, but that's not going to fix anything. That's never fixed anything.
So let's move away from the soft skills and the kind of like what do you think you will bring as a person to the CSM, and kind of like talk a little bit, if we can, about some of the specific stuff that you guys are concerned about. Now, I've taken a look through all three of your threads, and one thing that you guys all seem to agree on is that nullsec sov is kind of broken and needs to be addressed. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I would say yes.
And I guess I'll take a little bit of the helm on this one. Dirk, you yourself on Push to Talk a couple of months ago brought a solid data point in all of Eve's history. Out of the 19 years we've had this game going, every 4 to 6 years they change the SOV system.
Yeah, since the introduction of nullsec back in 2006 or so, It's been roughly every 4 to 5 years.
Every 4 to 5 years. We are now,
or it was.
As of 2022, we are approaching year 5 of
7.
Aegis, or Aegis. Is it 7 years of Aegis?
2015 Aegis Sov.
Fuck. All right. Well, it's been that long, right? And the thing is, I personally, as someone who's gotten to dabble a little bit in Dominion Sov, and mostly with Aegis and Fozzy Sov, but I've dabbled a little bit in Dominion Sov, right? That Fozzy Sov is okay in a lot of retrospects. It's okay. The problem with Fozzy Sov and the way that nullsec sovereignty, the way that nullsec sovereignty sucks right now, is just how long and gruesome the process is, right? If you want to take a system, you gotta hack nodes that are all throughout the entire constellation, and you gotta do that for both the iHub and the territorial claim unit, and you got to do all of that within a span of about, what, 4 or 5 days at max speed for one system out of the, what, 3,000 something we have in nullsec? And for one system, it takes that fucking long. And that's if your Entosis fucking Drake doesn't get sniped by a couple of bombers, right? So it's a very gruesome process, and it's tedious, right? It's tedious, almost as tedious as, you know, shield timers on fucking medium structured citadels. So a big thing that I've been advocating for, even before I was running for the CSM, is to get rid of the TCU. It does nothing. The only thing the TCU does is it raises the ADM by a slight amount and acts as a flagpole. That's it. Right? And especially since, from what CCP is doing right now, it looks like ADMs are going to go out the window one time or another within the next couple of years anyway. So fuck the TCU, right? Get
Some
rid
people
of
like
it.
their flagpoles, though, right?
The flag,
Some people
they
like
could
having their
just,
flags
no,
on a map.
they could just attach the flagpole to the iHub, man. Make one unified sovereignty
I
thing
think we can
in
just
space.
stop removing content from EVE Online for once.
Well, the thing is
Like
that
that's
no.
all CCP's done for like 3 years. Is
No.
remove content.
But
right?
here's the thing.
Whatever.
Removing. Brisk has said it before. In nullsec, we make our own content. You just got to give us the fucking tools to do so. Right? You got to give us the tools to do so. And let me tell you what. When's the last time you had a solid fight for a territorial claim unit? When's the last time?
Never.
That's
So
what I fucking
why
thought.
Why not, instead of thinking about how you can remove it, you think about how you can make it better, make it mean something?
No,
because right now,
here's the
if you
thing.
want to
Even if you make
talk
the
about
TC,
sovereignty,
even
I'll wait.
hold on. Even if you make, like, even if you go there and you make the TC, and I agree, some parts of space that needs to be reworked needs to be adding things rather than remove things. But with Siege Green and with this path that we're trying to take, we're trying to remove the tedious shit, right? We've removed shields on medium structures, and I'll tell you what, that has made killing structures in EVE Online 10 times more fucking fun, right? We don't need things that are complicated for the sake of being complicated. We need complicated mechanics, yes, because it's EVE Online. Why isn't it complicated, right? But we don't need it to be so complicated it's tedious as fuck, right? When you're invading a system, when you're invading a system,
You should listen to the small gang
guys.
guys because they'll tell you that it's not as much fun for them on the Astra House thing. Just saying.
Well,
and that's something you got to keep an
that's
eye
fair.
on. There are two sides to every story.
That's
I want
fair.
to cut you off, but I need to hop in here. Guys, I got to go do Rampage. I'm going to head out. Let you guys finish up on this and let Redline and Mifune get a word in edgewise because you guys know I can talk paint off a wall. So when you guys are done over here, come over to Rampage and you guys can yell at me some more over there about why we should all quit. All right? I will catch you guys.
We appreciate it, Brisk.
Later. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
All right, no,
but
Redline, you had a rebuttal
hold
for
on.
something Mifune said.
Wait, because this
No,
is
you-
this is
you
the end
were
of my
talking-
thought.
Oh,
This is the
Mifune
end
is
of
just
my
getting
thought.
warmed up, Don.
No. This is the end of my thought. I swear. Right.
Okay.
So remove the TCU.
Where was the beginning of your thought, dude?
I know. Continue,
move the flagpole over to the iHub. Right. Just make the iHub the one unified structure, and then add on to the iHub. Add on to it. You know, I think
Aren't they already
iHub,
doing that though?
No, and it's something they've briefly spoke about, but I honestly think there should be one unified SOV structure to attack.
Why not just move
There
Solve
is,
over
it's called
to
Nighthawk.
structures? You know,
Yep.
upworld structures.
Yeah, let's
Make it all services.
come on, guys. So look, here's the thing, right? The sovereignty system, the way it's designed, you guys can tell how it's supposed to be played, right? With a bunch of small groups throughout the constellation, doing all the fun stuff,
Yeah.
hacking nodes, fighting little flashpoints here and there. That's an amazing design. But we as players we aren't interacting with that the way that we
said,
could be,
"Fuck you."
or maybe should be, right? We create a bottleneck, we throw super capitals into it on top of a Fortizar or something. Sometimes a Keepstar, turns out. And that's what we do. That's how we play the SOV system. So one of the biggest things is that in order for that kind of meta to fall away, the other kind of meta needs to come back or be created, which means there needs to be actual reasons to have space other than to have your name on a map that's probably going to get shut down in a month anyway because of all the developers leaving. Like, there needs to be actual value to it, right? And all of that's kind of it's a part of my platform, because it seems to me, based on what I listen to at FanFest, that that's all going to be things that are going to be coming down the pipeline. I've read a bunch of CSM threads. A lot of people that are running for CSM are idea people. They are people that come up with unique and interesting and crazy things to do this and to do that. I'm not one of those people. But what I am is a person that can take an idea, analyze it, apply it, and figure out how to make it work better. That's my number one actual character ability in real life, is that I do that. I do that at work, I do it at home, I always do it.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that kind of leads into something else I had. This is kind of like a dumb question, but I'm going to ask
Oh,
it
damn
anyways.
it. Greg's stealing my segue.
Well, I know. Sorry, Dirky. Is CCP headed in a steerable direction? Redline, you're riffing, and we can go back to Mifune after you're done.
Hit me that question one more time.
Is CCP headed in a steerable direction?
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. So if you think about it, so I'm assuming you watched all the FanFest streams, right? All of us did, right? We were there for them. We saw them. And we saw a bunch of the things that CCP was looking at changing, which means that this oncoming CSM is probably going to be crucial in providing feedback on that kind of stuff. And that's where I want to be there, because these developers are going to bring forward these ideas, and we're going to respond and say, okay, what do how do we make these ideas better? And I think I'd be very good being on that team. And that's just because, and Dirk, I bet you can attest to this, I know how to make content in EVE Online, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've riffed about a few different things over the years, and like how certain ideas possibly could have gone better. I can certainly attest to those conversations.
And it keeps getting better, because the longer, so we've done the New Eden post for 2 years now, and I have interacted with so many people from so many different spots in space and playstyles and everything, and I've seen how all of this stuff has impacted them, and I want to bring that forward if I'm elected into helping make the game better for the people who have already left. Maybe they come back.
For those that don't know, Redline, what is the New Eden Post?
It's my streaming platform. I definitely created it as a counter to the evil Imperium during World War B2, which I've heard incorrectly referred to as Vietnam.
It's Vietnam, Redline.
I am officially on the Imperium blacklist, and by God, sir, I believe that means I am an enemy.
Yeah, we will not have anyone spreading misinformation on this fine hard news show, sir.
For you guys, the New Eden Post is hostile propaganda.
No, but not really.
But for me, it's a platform that I made because I interacted with some of the other news stations, and I realized that they were really restrictive and didn't let just regular people on. So I grabbed a couple big name FCs, I grabbed a CSM representative, and I grabbed an idiot in myself, and we started Trash Talk Tuesday every week, like clockwork. We would bring everybody on, and we would do all the fun stuff. Huh?
Who was the idiot?
Me. Because,
Mifune,
because
I'll ask-
I thought you were.
because I'm the one.
Thought you were gonna say it was Carmen Gel.
No, because I'm the one that's been sat there for 2 years, and every single time these guys talk about something that I don't know, I am not afraid to say, "Hey, I didn't know that. Tell me more," and actually learn, and be humble about it. And it's been really cool. It's been really fun. There's a lot of people over the last 2 years, and you want to see my killboard, dude? I'll show you my fucking
Oh my
killboard.
god,
boy.
he's been in PL too
Well,
long.
wow.
You should see mine.
well,
Mifune, I'll
well,
ask you the same question.
Yeah.
Is CCP headed in a steerable direction?
I 100% agree with Redline. Like, yes, over the past 2 years, we see.
That wasn't the question.
No,
It's okay. Don't worry about it. No.
it's fine. But I agree with Redline. With the stuff they announced at FanFest, they're realizing that they fucked up for a while, and they're working on fixing it. They've been working on a lot and of a hell of a ton that we've seen at FanFest. They've been working so much on the back end of EVE Online. I really do agree that this CSM is incredibly important because it can really shape how we're going to see EVE is within the next 3, 4, 5 years. Because of just now that they seem like they're done with all of these nerfs and all of these balance changes and all these back-end changes, and they're ready to come out with something new. And I do agree that this is completely important because it will shape how EVE is over the coming years.
And most
Okay.
importantly, it needs to be done right. And the people that get elected this time, they need to be the ones that know how to do it right. So there are a ton of people that are running for CSM that I'm sure will get it done right. Make sure that you vote for them, no matter what.
So I am stealing my segue back.
That's
from
fine.
people kind of figuring out CCP's ideas and making them do it right. Brisk talked earlier in the show about how CCP with this FanFest really kind of buried the lead. They came out with these price changes and kind of went, wait for FanFest, we're going to have a really big announcement. They got on stage at the keynote, didn't really actually say much of anything, let's be honest. The keynote was a big, long history lesson of like the last 4 years of things they think they did right. But on the second day, CCP Aurora got up on stage for about 20-25 minutes, something in that region, I think, and talked about basically an elevator pitch, just slightly more than an elevator pitch, but a very quick kind of, I say quick, overview of changes that they want to do and build into what they're calling the ARC system, which is basically a fancy word for the next expansion, the next big change, and how they want to make these mechanical changes through storyline. Now, the first thing that they want to work on, that they're looking to deliver, I think towards the end of the year, is the timeline that's been bandied about, is faction warfare changes. And this is on both of your CSM campaign threads again on the forums. So I kind of wanted to come to you on faction warfare changes. How do you think this needs to be channeled? Do you have kind of concepts that you'd like to really emphasize to CCP? Where do you see yourself placing yourselves for feedback on these upcoming faction warfare changes? Breadline or Mifune, you guys can kind of argue about who goes first.
On behalf of Mifune, I'm going to ask for a little bit more context. Because are we talking like, is CCP approaching us with, like, hey, do you guys have any ideas? Or are they saying, hey, this is our idea, what do you think? Or are they saying, hey, this is what we're doing, your input has no meaning, but we just thought you should see it because it's cool?
Context here is the CSM has been described as a focus group, I think by Mifune earlier on in the show. You are being approached by CCP for the core concepts of faction warfare that really need to be focused in on with these changes. What do you see as the really important parts of faction warfare, and what do you see as kind of stuff that CCP could take away or tweak around the edges? What do they really need to keep and develop on and kind of make more front and center?
All right, I'm gonna come through with a hot take first, and then Mifune, I want you to light it on fire. All right, you got me?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, bro. All right. So look, so here's the hottest take you're ever gonna hear about this whole thing. All right, is that these faction warfare changes, they actually need to be entirely redone, like from the ground up. It seems like almost nothing in faction warfare is actually worth anything anymore. From all the complaints we see about it, from like people in low sec complaining about people plexing systems, and I mean the mechanics of like faction warfare and
Complexes,
stuff.
not
Complexes,
plex
not the space
currency.
itself.
Yeah.
Right. And I do mean complexes. I mean those kinds of mechanics. I don't mean the region of space itself and like other low sec stuff. I just mean faction warfare in general. But personally, I don't have a lot of ideas with it, but I know what the faction warfare should look like in my personal opinion, and it should be a place where people go from being new players to being soldiers of the next great war. You should be able to go there, PvP, and then go back to your hole at the end of the day. Or do whatever you want. Just a battleground
Giggity.
area.
So
Okay. Rebuild it from the ground up. Okay. Mifune?
So I will agree. I will leave with the point that yes, faction warfare really does need a complete rework from the ground up. But the biggest thing that I took away from the faction warfare keynote section was that yes, they're going to look at faction warfare. They're going to revamp it. They're going to look at it again. They're going to give it some love, which it needs, right? Because I personally am not too experienced in the faction warfare space as it is today, but from my understanding as it works today, people who are in faction warfare, when they flag themselves to be within faction warfare, they can only join the NPC corp for faction warfare. If you're a Caldari pilot and you go into Caldari faction warfare, you can either be within the Caldari faction warfare corporation, or you can join a corporation that is aligned with the Caldari faction specifically for faction warfare. For me as a goon character, I cannot go and play in faction warfare on my Goon Swarm character. I would have to leave the Goon Swarm Alliance to be able to play in faction warfare.
Didn't they say they're changing that though?
Yes, and that
Yeah.
is something they're changing, which I believe is great. I think it's a really, really good thing that I will be able to flag myself for faction warfare without having to leave a null sec block or leave a low sec group. Right,
It's essentially like Battlegrounds in World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
You sign up for a faction and then you go fight.
It's a good change from what they talked about during the keynote. I also very much agree with their statement that they want to change faction warfare and the fact that they want to have faction warfare mean something. They want it to influence the actual universe of EVE, which is good. And that's something I've always stated. I've said it in Theta comms. I've said it with players that I've talked to for ages.
Objection, hearsay?
Nice. I was waiting for somebody to slip that in. Good job, Redline.
But I really believe that EVE Online in general, actions pertaining to certain activities should influence the rest of space. And I feel like, on a side note, I feel like that was the big problem with Poshvin, is that Poshvin is just kind of Poshvin. It doesn't, it doesn't influence anything outside of Poshvin.
It does, though. Like, not having Niarja has been an insane thing. But if you want to talk about Poshvin, I know what your point was. Your point was that Poshvin was really cool. It was a great idea, and it would have been really great to know what was going to happen while it was happening, so that when we chose systems that we wanted to kick into some weird red wormhole space, that we could actually pick the ones that we wanted instead of just
Exactly. Instead of just
what's
meme
gonna
on
happen
Nyarja.
after this goes through.
Right.
Ooh.
So I really feel like there needs to be that mechanic in the game where everybody cares about it, right? And I feel like they're really going in the right direction with that. You know, they said that based on, you know, like whether it be if Caldari has majority control, then Caldari's space has certain bonuses that other factions don't. Or, you know, like shit like that. Shit like that is what we needed. It's kind of stuff like that that shakes up high sec, that shakes up the economy in certain ways.
Nah.
Right? I
How
really
So
in the
here's-
world did we go through an hour? It just like
It's
breezed
very
by.
easy to do.
is very
No, but Mifune, I'm half with you, buddy. Here's the thing: is that when you're talking about actual changes to the video game, the things you do in nullsec and the thing that Johnny Pubelo does in highsec, they're not the same.
Yeah. No,
they're not the
I
same
know.
thing, right?
And that's
and
one
Johnny should not impact what you are doing in nullsec, just like you shouldn't impact what Johnny is doing
in high sec. I know, and I feel
However, comma, having a place where it could literally be all of nullsec versus all of highsec for some insane game change. Can you imagine that? I
Yes,
doubt it
I
would happen,
can.
but can you imagine if it
yes,
did?
I can. I agree. It's such a cool thing to think about. Like, imagine if you could fuck over the Amar market. Like, imagine if players had to band together and they had to fight in faction warfare and could fuck the Amar market because of it, right? Like, oh,
Sounds like a lot of work.
No, it sounds great. It sounds like content. It sounds like something to get you invested, right? Like when the Nyarja change happened, right? When no, exactly. And Jinx pulls up a good question. That's exactly my next point, right? When the whole Nyarja thing happened and Mittens pinged everybody and we went to this huge fight to fuck over Nyarja because it would fuck over the markets, right? Imagine if that shit happened every month. Like, wouldn't that keep the game so fucking fresh?
It would probably kill the economy. And CCP are doing a good enough
no,
job of that on their
it's-
own.
Yes.
No,
but
not
you have
to
to
that
remember that if
degree.
you put too much volatility and
No,
instability,
and that's
causes people to not engage because people like stability and they like the known.
No,
And a little unknown every now and then is good.
But
But having it where it changes so constantly, at some point people just get too frustrated with dealing with the bullshit and just throw their hands up in the air.
No, I mean,
So
That's
you
why
have
people
to
get
balance it.
married.
I don't mean like super huge super huge changes like Nyarja. I mean simple stuff, right? Like, oh my god, Amar has majority control of faction warfare. So, things in Amar space get certain bonuses, like whether it be, just spitting ideas here. Whether it be like, oh, Amar sites pay out a little more than normal, or if Caldari has majority control, Jita prices and everything, the broker's fee slightly goes down because of market trading, right? Like, incorporate lore into it if you want to, like have crazy shit. Like, what is it? I think it's Amar that's the fucking lore faction that has slaves or whatever, right? Have that be impacted by faction warfare, right? Like,
Man, Mifune, I'm
make
being
it mean
attacked by a
something.
fucking bear or something.
Oh,
Like a
who
fucking
turned-
bear or some shit.
Oh, is that Redline that turned on his camera?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that
Save
is-
me.
No, that's Redline that turned on his camera.
Jesus
This-
Christ,
I
man.
feel like
This has
we
been the
need to
most hilarious 3 minutes of my life.
Dirk, I think we need to come up with Theta Thursday's own rule. We have the Dawn rule on Saturdays. I don't appreciate the Dawn rule, but it does mean everybody says my name at the beginning of the show. So
Oh
you know,
my God,
I'm not
it's
gonna argue
not
that
all about
much.
you, Don.
it is always about
it's not.
me.
This is
Always.
about, we do this show for our friends, for Theta.
Well,
We
that's
don't
why
do
I'm
this
wondering,
show
should
for
we
us.
do a 10-minute Mifune rule at the end of shows or something? We'll have to discuss. I'm just thinking about it. But
Yeah,
we
because I
are-
could go
Yes,
on.
it is.
Oh, what do you got?
guys to have a
No,
conversation.
no,
What do I
because
have?
I will go on and on and on until someone cuts me off. But long story short,
I know
I
that's why I just
agree.
cut you off.
I agree with the faction warfare revamp. I like the path they are going down. I love the opportunity to take part in shaping how it's going to go. I am very excited for it. I am very excited to see how they can take certain aspects of space to influence other areas of space. Right? It's a really, really great change.
Okay, he's getting onto a ramble
Yeah,
again.
yeah, sorry.
Dawn,
Yeah,
He's rambling.
Mifune,
questions.
you only have to say it once. When we
Do
get
we
it.
have more questions for other folks?
Have you got anything?
I'm ready to answer a question.
Okay, Redline. What is going to be your first sentence in a CCP meeting?
Oh God.
Go.
Hello, my name is Redline 13, and welcome to the best meeting of your life.
Perfect. Exactly. No,
Mifune, one sentence.
I think
first
I'm
sentence.
gonna walk in with 2 cans of beer and be like,
No. Yeah,
fuckers.
one sentence. Answer the question.
Sup, fuckers. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking.
Let's
I
see.
think
But this
I'm
was
sure
more than
someone's
one
actually
sentence
done that.
already.
I would be surprised if someone else has done that before. Legitimately, it would probably be same thing with Redline. It's just, hey, I'm Mifune. What's up? What's poppin'?
That is not what I said at all, sir. Respectfully.
Along the same lines of.
It is not along the same lines, sir. Respectfully.
I mean, you did say hello, so those are both in there.
Well, true. That's a traditional greeting. Come on, Mifune. You gotta come up with one sentence. One sentence.
When they make you
that
go
you're gonna
around the
say.
room and like you're in kindergarten introducing yourself.
Yeah, how do you describe yourself as to CCP in a single sentence? When you say hello, my name is Mifune, and I, what do you end with?
Will
in that
always love you.
Probably
Sorry.
would bust in there singing like Whitney
Sorry.
Houston. Yes, hi, I am Mifune and I love spaceships. That is very true. That's a valid sentence.
That's a good one. Okay.
That would be
Complete
acceptable.
plagiarism, but we accept it.
Complete
Mostly.
plagiarism from the Twitch chat. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
it's
who
fine,
would
right?
you? Here's a question for both of you. Of the people that you are going to work with on CCP, who would you fire?
That's not a good way to start off the relationship. Be like, yeah, I
No,
asked
no,
this fucker.
Let's say you had the opportunity to fire one person that works for CCP. Who would it be? This is a fucking shit question for both of you, but it's a hard question.
It's a really
It's
easy
gonna go
question.
so badly.
It's a really easy question. You know who I would fire?
The person who books their flights. I hear that they do a really bad job. Continue, sorry.
Oh,
That
oh man,
died.
Redline just
Uh.
fucking CCP got to him. Oh my god, fuck, they're good. Maybe they got space lasers or something.
That question
Well-
just got ghosted by Redline.
Mifune, same question to you while we get Redline back.
Honestly, I don't think anybody, because the CSM is not there to decide who works for.
No, I understand, but let's
CCP.
say you were and you could.
I mean, nobody, because to me, that's. I mean, first day, I don't know who does what, right? Like practicality, I don't know who does what.
How?
I mean,
How do
I
you
know,
not know
no,
who does what?
Like, I know Fozzie does
They
events.
just did
but-
a whole fan fest
No,
with people
I-
doing what they do, bro. Come on.
No, I know, but you know what I mean?
Come on,
Like,
it's an
I don't-
obvious answer, dude. It's an obvious answer.
Yeah, you're gonna say Rattati, but
Because the only thing that any of us should fire
These
are-
laser beams.
the thrusters on the fucking friendship, dudes. Because look,
Oh my god.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay? There needs to be a certain level of I'll call it respect
Professionalism.
for chaos. Right?
Oh dear lord. I knew this was going to be a shit show of a question the moment Greg asked it, just for the record.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
and then he left us while waiting for the answers.
He turned his monitor black.
Yeah,
It's very dark.
I think he's gonna go get his package. I don't know,
Nice.
but
Nice. Anyways, no, don't
Who-
fire anybody at CCP because
who would you look
realistically,
forward to the most
It's
to
a-
work with? Out of either
That's a fun
CSM members
question.
or CCP
Aurora.
people, one person.
Aurora.
It's an easy
100%.
answer.
It's
a really easy answer.
I met Aurora in Vegas. I had dinner with her. Both her and Ice Cream came to the ASCII Corp dinner, which is really funny because so we're chilling at the ASCII Airbnb and
I'm really glad that did not take a creepy turn.
Klexos was like talking. We were talking, and Klexos, he's like, "Hey, yo, wouldn't it? I know some CCPers are in town. Like, what if we invited them to Corp dinner because we had a few people who couldn't come to Vegas, and we had like 3 extra slots on the Corp dinner. So why don't we invite some CCPers?" I was like, "Fuck it." So I went into the partnership Discord and I added the community team. I was like, "Hey, who's in Vegas? Because we have some extra tickets to our Corp dinner, and we're wondering who wants to come." And so CCP Aurora and CCP Ice Cream came, and I got to sit at the dinner table with them and talk to them a lot during that dinner. And Aurora is absolutely hilarious, man. She cracks some of the best jokes ever. It's hilarious. I love
Mifune,
working with her.
respectfully as possible, you are now rambling.
Yes, I know. I ramble a lot.
I feel sometimes bad for cutting you off, but then I have to remember I kind of just have to anyways.
You have to.
You just
anyway.
have to.
I know
it's not
people
about the
have
jokes,
to.
right?
I know
It's
people have
about
to.
it's about the know-how. And if I ever catch anybody saying anything bad about Aurora, she knows her shit, and you have to respect that. I respect the hell out of Aurora. I would love to work with her.
I definitely agree with that. Just that general point of Aurora really knows her shit. I've done a lot of work with her on tournament stuff and some of the bits of mechanic that kind of go into tournaments and the way players play competitive EVE Online, if you want to call it that. And yeah, super knowledgeable about mechanics, super knowledgeable about like how things work, and the fact that she picked that up on the fly to get tournaments back up and running. Basically, the reason you got to watch the Alliance tournament last year, pretty much entirely Aurora. Single-handedly pushed it. So yeah, got a lot of respect for Aurora person.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't not. All right, are there more questions? I love questions. I feel like, has the chat had a chance to ask questions? Do they get one?
I
Is that the way
got
this
this one.
works?
I got this one here. Like, what about other
I'm ready,
CSM
I'm ready.
candidates? Who are you looking forward to working with, or like who would you not work with?
You know who I've always wanted to work with but never had the chance to? Was Pando. Because when I was in Goons, I wanted to work with all the big guy FCs. I got to work with Asher a couple times, but I never got to work with Pando. But also,
Mifune? Oh, go ahead.
but also, yeah, there's so many more. So Pando, I'm excited to be able to work with Brisk if I'm elected, because like you were saying earlier, he's the old man CSM guy. So I feel like he's gonna, hold my hand while I walk across the threshold into the CSM meeting or whatever. So him, and then also Stitch Caneland, who is an amazing idea guy. And there's been a lot of ideas of his that have been implemented into the game. He's cool. Jinx is awesome. Kazanir is very cool. And Ithaca is super cool.
Same
like
question
all
for
those
you,
dudes.
Mifune.
And Dudette.
I would say Brisk and Redline. Honestly, so same reasons for Brisk is that he's a golden oldie. Love Brisk, and he's just a great guy. He's got a ton of knowledge that I hope to learn from. And then Redline is just, he's a great dude overall. I love him. And I hope we both get elected so we get to work together.
Would be fun. And honestly, I'm just looking for number 3, right? If I could be the 3rd elected, that'd be cool.
A lot of being elected to CSM involves getting put on a block ticket, right? A block ballot.
It really
How
does.
do you feel, each of you, how do you feel, what do you feel your chances are on getting on a block ballot? A number from 0 to 100, 100 being the most likely and 0 being the least likely. What percentage chance?
Define block.
Block, like being
It
at
means like the goon ballot or the PL
fucking-
ballot or the
yeah.
the ballot that everyone.
I couldn't think of anything else but fucking goons for a minute there. I forgot who hates us.
I feel like
So do you think? I don't think I'm gonna be on the goon ballot if that's what you're asking. I'm gonna
Maybe,
try.
who
I'm
knows?
shooting for number 10. I'm shooting for number 10 on the goon ballot because my expectations are low, right? But if it'd be cool. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be on any block ballot. As far as my chances of getting elected, I think they are relatively low. But I think that in the process, I will learn a whole lot about everything that goes on. Not like at the CSM, but just in general. And I can use that to better prepare for next year.
I feel like as a goon, right? When it comes to the goon ballot, it's weird, right? Like, I don't think being on a nullsec block ballot is necessarily needed to be elected on a CSM. It's just one of those things that you look at and you're like, oh, hey, nice, right? Like, it's not entirely needed. We've had plenty of CSM members, both past and present, be elected while they're not on any block ballot, right? Like, block ballots definitely have a impact on who gets on the CSM, but it's not the whole ballot, right?
Notice how you're dancing around the question that was put to you, Mifune, which is what percentage chance do you think you have of getting on a block ballot, being that they are a large part of the CSM elections?
Well, I would say I probably have about a 40% chance, and that's just because as far as the goon ballot goes, there's a lot of goon swarm members that I know are probably being put on the ballot, like Brisk, like Angry, like Kaz, right? Like, there's a lot of people that are in the goon ballot specifically that are gonna like obviously be there. And then there's the fact that a lot of people don't like me in the EVE community, and that's just kind of a thing I've had to deal with since I started the game. But I'd say I have a solid 40% chance, just because who else is going to do it, right? Like, who else is going to run for the CSM this year? And that's been a big thing this year, is like, like Briss said, a lot of people on the CSM are going to be brand new. It's not going to be the olden goldies that we've been used to over the past 5, 6, 7 years. So I would say I have a solid 40% chance.
Yeah, so I mean, we are kind of getting pretty late in the show, so I do just want to kind of cover some of the rough numbers for people before we start looking to close things up.
I hate when you cover rough numbers.
Timelines.
I like it rough.
Timelines for CSM. So submissions for CSM candidacies are now closed. People can't apply anymore. They closed on the 16th, so that would be Monday. Closed on Monday. Application processing ends today, so that's Friday the 20th for anybody living in an actual time zone and not freedom time.
Freedom units are the only units.
I get it. You're being geographist. I get it. It's fine.
There's a link in chat if anybody wants to follow along with what Dirk is talking about.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in chat that's running for CSM, by the way, just out of curiosity?
Jinx is
I'm
in
gonna talk to you later.
Yeah.
Jinx is here. I've seen him. X up in chat like a true classic.
Nice.
There we go.
So yeah, we will discover the complete list of candidates next Wednesday. I believe CCP are planning to do a live stream for the candidate announcements, but don't quote me on that.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Currently, well, they've done it the last few years, so I would expect that tradition to kind of stay the same, but we'll see what CCP Convict decides to do as their kind of head streaming person nowadays. From there, actually, before we go from there on the timeline, I do want to say that in terms of the number of people for CSM posts on the Evo forums, which may not be a complete list, but there are some 37 or 40, somewhere in that region, post in terms of people who have announced that they are running for CSM, and those people who have posted have gone through CCP's vetting process. So they are confirmed to be candidates. We'll be seeing them on the list next Wednesday. Beyond that, we're going to have a further 2-week period, the 25th of May to the 5th of June. That is, sorry, that's like 10 days, but whatever. That is a campaign period, so you're going to see a lot more from people on talk shows. You're going to see a lot more stuff in quote-unquote Eve Media and on Reddit talking about the CSM. This is just kind of how this period goes in life. So if you're in Eve and engaged with the community, buckle up for a lot of CSM talk for the minute. And then for anybody who has Omega subscriptions, you cannot vote if you do not have an Omega subscription. But for anybody with Omega subscriptions, voting periods are between the 7th of June and the 14th of June, a 1-week voting period, with the results of the CSM 17 votes being announced on the 16th of June. So lots of numbers, I know. I will drop the news post in Twitch chat for people. But yeah, voting between the 7th and the 14th of June, actual announcement on the 16th of June. We get to hear about all of the candidates next Wednesday. There's your timeline.
And expect Theta Thursday to have much more coverage of the CSM 17 elections. And if you are a CSM candidate, you're watching, or you're watching the VOD, or you're watching our YouTube, make sure to contact myself or Don Rhea or Mifune Swordgod, and we'll do our best to get you on and talk some with you. We're fairly good to our guests, aren't we, Redline?
They're holding me hostage.
Well, wait till you see the package, our participation package that you leave with.
I don't want
It's
anything
nice.
to do with your package.
You get like a Theta Thursday T-shirt.
I've never got a Theta Thursday T-shirt. Where's my T-shirt?
You're not
We
a
have
guest.
t-shirts?
You live
Oh,
here.
I got my
I
Dark
absolutely
Shines
am
book.
a guest. These
No,
guys
you're
keep
not. You
asking me
live
to
here.
come on.
You live
Yep.
here, dude. This is your home. You can't be a guest in your own home. That's not how homes work.
We got a bunch of skins and stuff we should give away to people, right, Mifune?
What? Give stuff away? Yeah.
Mifune's not here right now.
Sorry.
Mentally checked out.
No, I was talking to someone who sent me a PM, but I don't think I have the giveaway bot set up right now. But
No, it's all right. I was just saying, like, in the future, right? So
yeah,
like, we can,
we're definitely
we can do stuff like
planning
that.
to set that up.
So also
Give
on
away some partner skins about it, huh?
right on Tuesdays, there Redline's got a show, and everybody should tune into
It's on
that.
Wednesdays
Is it
now.
on Wednesday now?
Yeah.
How
I
the
was
fuck?
actually
Why
gonna
is
say,
it
like,
fucking called Trash Talk Tuesday if it's on Wednesday?
It's
It's
not.
not called
It's
Trash
called
Talk
Crosstalk.
Tuesday anymore. It's called
They
Cross Talk.
rebranded.
Alright.
true.
You guys should
you're out of
watch
the
it.
loop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch it Wednesdays. I'm sorry, Redline. I
It's
didn't
fine.
mean to-
No, but I was gonna say, like, we'll also have coverage on that show on Wednesday. Probably be the first people that talk about it, unless Talking in Stations beats us to it, those dastardly dastards.
Also a fun show on Saturday afternoons at what time is it at, Don? 2 Eastern?
1800 UTC.
Yeah, that's
You know
a
what's
No,
that's a
sorry,
good
crazy?
1700 UTC.
You mentioned
1700.
1800. You mentioned 1700 UTC, and every week for like the last 2 years, I get a stomach ache between 17 and 1800 UTC on Saturdays.
Well, we're sorry for that correlation, but not causation, Redline.
Are you sure?
But you should see a doctor about that, buddy. If it's that consistent, they might be
No,
able to help
man.
you figure that out. Although I suppose it's not lasting for more than 4 hours at a time, so you might be okay.
No.
All right. Do you guys want to wrap things up? You guys, maybe Mifune and Redline can have a couple of minutes each to do their closing, and then we'll close with our final thoughts. Does that sound like a fucking idea or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know,
Brief
all right.
closing statements, Mifune.
I think we've heard a lot from me and Mifune, and the big thing is that if we are elected, we want to hear from you, so why don't you talk to us? What are your thoughts on this whole thing? What do you want? What would
Go
make
on
you
the
happy?
CSM thing. I don't know, man. I again,
What do you want a CSM rep to do?
I think a CSM rep should listen to the player base, which CSM reps seem to do, and I asked like the hard questions, like is CCP headed in a steerable direction, and how do you make CCP listen? Well, as Briss said, and which is quite true, like you can't make somebody listen to you. Like that's just basic people skills 101. You can suggest shit, but if they're not gonna fucking listen, they're not gonna listen. Like the only other thing you could do would be physical violence. And you obviously can't do that.
Right, yeah, no, we don't want to have that.
You could rent a van
For
in
sure.
Iceland.
No, we do not want that.
Rent a van in Iceland. Get some zip ties and duct tape.
No.
Oh,
Greg,
what? Oh,
no.
sorry. Yeah, I was saying that out loud.
We're cutting you off there.
Sir?
No violence is being endorsed
Sir?
by this show.
How much is a van
Please.
rental in
This
Iceland?
is a Wendy's drive-through.
We aren't going to engage that line of thinking, Greg. Just step away.
I was just kidding.
Step
For
away
anyone
from the
that,
Chrome tab.
for anyone that is, that did take me seriously. I was just kidding. Do not ever kidnap anyone in the back of a panel van
just
with
yeah.
duct tape
No.
and zip ties.
Not recommended.
What about you, Don? What do you want to see out of your CSM reps? You know what I'm talking about.
I want a calendar.
We got a fucking
So,
calendar.
I
Is
want
it a
to
sexy
see
calendar?
I want to see a sexy CSM rep calendar. You know, Bristol's got the hot tub he can work with here. You know, Billy's got the attitude. Arcee is a chick, so I don't know what Kenneth Feld brings, but I'm sure we can figure something out for it. But
Pretty
you know,
sure they
I
like to
want a
be called
calendar.
ladies nowadays, Don, not chicks.
Whatever.
Ladies.
Kenneth brings a big beard.
That's true. He is the bear of the CSM. So I would like to see that out of the next CSM.
Dirk, what about
Redline,
you,
think
man?
of what month do you want, Redline?
December.
December?
I-
Oh, you're gonna have like a little Christmas pack.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Redline dressed as like in a sexy Santa Claus
Look,
outfit. Oh my god.
I will tell you one thing, right? If I am elected to the CSM, I will 150,000% make that calendar.
I would just like to point out that there are 12 months in a year and only 10 CSM reps. So
Well, some people
somebody's gonna
get,
have to
uh,
Yeah,
figure
but
out some
there's a
math
couple
there.
CCP devs.
No,
that
that's the
work
group.
with
That's the group
CSM, huh?
photos. Group photos.
Yeah,
guys.
for 2 months.
Yeah,
One has to
One
be
day in
puppies.
December, kind of like.
No,
they
they're
can't
good.
go through.
A group
You gotta have
photo
one
and then
for
puppies.
CCP. You gotta have
One
one
pup-
for the devs that are on that help with the CSM, Swift, and the other community guys, Convict, Zealous, all those friends.
Yeah, or have one month be a group photo, and the other month be like CCP like members and shit. Yeah.
That's literally what I said.
Okay,
That just
super
now.
agreeing. I wasn't sure. Shut up.
You guys are putting far too much effort into this.
Dirk, answer your own question, please. What do you want to see out of the
my
CSM?
question, my
It was
question.
Oh
Redline's
yeah, it was
question,
Redline's
but-
question. Redline,
It's
you're damn
important
good,
because
buddy.
it's a part of my platform to listen.
Redline
to.
has just let me point this out. Redline has speaking skills and listening skills, and having both of those are that's kind of a unique thing. So Redline is endearing himself to me moment by moment.
So Greg asked a question of you guys earlier, which is, is the good ship CCP kind of steerable at this point? And you guys generally agreed that yes, that they are, and I'd like to agree with you. But I'm gonna kind of reiterate something I said on Push to Talk the other week, which is that I've been writing and talking about the same shit in articles and on talk shows since 2019 at least, right? There's a long list of like just the same stuff that we've been hammering on, and nothing has shifted. And I appreciate that some of that is, CCP and whatever, but it's kind of become obvious over the years that CCP are not some sort of lightweight speedboat that can zip around and do 2-week iteration constantly, because they kind of struggle with the word iteration, but also because they're driving a monolith of a game, right? They literally call their main server the monolith. So in that sense, it's not a speedboat. It's a container ship, and container ships have like huge lead times needed on when they make turns, when they make changes, and to pull numbers that I vaguely read once that I half remember out of my ass, a container ship can't stop its direction without being, it takes like 16 American football fields or whatever, your hand egg fields. It's like 16 of those to stop a speeding container ship.
So it pretty much has to crash into something before it's going to stop, right?
Is that like that song, "Give me 40 acres and I'll turn this rig around"?
Is this your way?
Something like that,
I
yeah.
found. I'm trying to turn it on a dime or turn it right downtown, but I need 40 acres to turn this rig around.
All right, something like that. Thank you for the melody, Greg. So in terms of what I want to see from incoming CSMs, I want to see a willingness to like keep hauling at that steering wheel and kind of fighting CCP. Not fighting CCP. Again, we don't condone violence here, but kind of engaging with CCP. The direction that they're heading is not the right direction. So just keep hauling on that wheel. Right. Keep talking to CCP and kind of.
Brisk needs to get ready to raid Rampage. Brisk needs to get ready to raid Rampage soon.
I don't need a raid. Screw them. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so I think we've pretty much all done our final thoughts through just a natural flow of the show.
Yep.
Do we want to just? Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to say in closing?
God, please don't give me
sexy CSM calendar, guys.
Can one of you guys put my CSM campaign site in the chat? Redlineforcsm.com, just so people can see it if they want to. I worked really hard on it. It was super fun, and it's got a question and answer thing on there that I
send it to me.
That I whipped up.
Oh, Dirk!
It's just redlineforcsm.com.
Mifune, do you have a fancy website?
Thanks, man.
I do not, unfortunately.
You want one?
Sorry, man.
I can make one for you.
Possibility.
Okay. Low price of 100 ISK.
Talk to me, dude. I can help. Happy to help.
All right, so yeah, keep your eyes open, guys. Theta Thursday is going to be doing a lot of stuff with CSM. We're going to have even wackier questions for the other candidates. And again, if you're
possibly
a candidate,
even wackier candidates
and wackier candidates.
Just don't ask me what my preferred lubricant is.
And what is your preferred lubricant, Redline?
All right. Brisk really needs to raid Rampage. Brisk, are you ready to raid Rampage?
Mustard.
Oh, we gotta thank Brisk for coming on again too. His time is tight, right?
Oh, here we go. He's doing it. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Hope y'all enjoyed the show. We'll catch you next week.